Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu einem neuen ähm, Video zur Starship Corporation. Und ich bin eigentlich so jemand, der eigentlich lieber Learning by Doing macht, aber bei diesem Teil muss man sich wirklich mal das Tutorial angucken. Und für diejenigen, die sich das Spiel noch nicht gekauft haben, aber gerne wissen würden, ob es denn auch machbar wäre, dort auch mal ein, wie soll man es nennen, ein wirklich flugbereites Schiff hinzukriegen. Für diejenigen habe ich mal das Tutorial jetzt rausgekramt. Und wir werden das Tutorial einfach mal, zumindest das, was mich am meisten momentan genervt hat, das Schiff, den Schiffsentwurf. Und davon das Tutorial, das machen wir jetzt.
Welcome to the ship design tutorial. Please use the next button to start. In this screen, you can determine which contract you're working on and which fuselage to use. You can either click on Load to start with a pre-existing design or start a completely new blueprint, which we're going to do now.
So, wir haben einmal den Auftrag, einmal eigene oder keine, aber wir werden sowieso einen Auftrag machen.
You can choose the goals for this ship design by switching between Contract, Custom, and None. Please select Contract now. Select Design Tutorial Contract from the list of contracts. Below the contract list, you'll see the most important requirements of the selected contract.
Okay, ich weiß jetzt zwar nicht, warum das Teil jetzt auf einmal wieder... Das ist immer noch... Es ist noch mal halb. Also es ist noch nicht ganz übersetzt, man merkt das schon, ne? Aber die sind schon dabei, das auf jeden Fall auf Deutsch zu übersetzen, sieht man ja hier. Das sind die Sachen, auf die wir Acht geben müssen bei dem Vertrag und bei dem Little Bug, den wir jetzt gleich machen werden.
On the right half of the screen, you can select from a list of fuselages. Currently, only Little Bug has been researched, so please select it. You can see a short description and basic information about the fuselage just below. Please click on Start Design in the lower right corner to enter Ship Design. In the upper left area, you'll find the Mission Progress panel. Here you can monitor how good your ship is rated. You can minimize this window by clicking on one of the arrows on the right side. In the upper right corner, you can see the Objectives panel. Here you can see the construction goals and information about your current ship design. You can minimize this window with the arrow on the bottom right. In the upper right corner of the Objectives panel, you can click on Change Contract to select a different contract. This way you can browse through all available contracts to see if their objectives are a fit for the current ship. At the top, you'll find the message bar. Click on the arrow at the bottom right to minimize or maximize the window. You can use this list to help you keep track of what you still need to build a fully functioning ship. At the bottom left is your ship's deck layout. You can switch between decks by clicking on the appropriate deck in the ship graphic. You can also change decks by using the page up and page down keys or the number keys 1 and 2. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see the Build menu. Please click on the Small Bridge from the Core Modules panel. You can rotate the selected room by clicking the right mouse button. You can place it anywhere by clicking the left mouse button. When a room is selected, you can return to the Build menu by pressing the Space key or by clicking on the Build menu icon. Click and hold the left mouse button over the built room until it attaches to your mouse cursor, then left-click again to build it in a different spot. Delete the bridge by clicking on it with the right mouse button or hitting the Delete key when the room is selected. You can undo any deletion or creation by pressing Z. Please place the bridge at the marked location on deck B2 to be able to continue the tutorial. You're only able to build one bridge. Move or delete the one previously built. When a room is selected, you'll see all of its requirements in the bottom right corner. You'll notice that the crew count in the Objectives panel has been updated. This tells you that you now need 2 pilots to operate the bridge. Please build a standard computer now. You'll find it under Core Modules. It's preferable to build it close to the bridge because you'll need a pilot to maintain it. In this ship, place it at the marked location on deck B2. Please select the computer. It doesn't require someone staying in it full time for the ship to operate. This means that you can send one of the bridge crew to maintain the computer core as well. Please select the Octagal engine from the Main Engine tab. You can only build an engine room next to yellow areas. Please build it at the highlighted location on deck B1. Change the deck by using the page down or number 1 key. Please switch to Berthing and select Pilot Quarters Small, then place 2 units at the recommended locations on deck B2. You'll notice that the crew count as well as the air and water supply are being updated. The engine room needs to be supplied by fuel tanks. Please select the small fuel tank from the storage panel and build 2 tanks at the recommended locations on deck B1. In the Objectives panel, you'll see the updated fuel supply for the ship. Please switch to Berthing and select Tech Quarters Small and place 2 of them in the recommended locations. Some crew management missions require quick access of technicians to the engine room, therefore it's a benefit to place their quarters close to it. Please place another set of 2 Tech Quarters Small at the other side of the ship. You'll now have 4 technicians available when performing a mission. Build a small air tank by selecting Storage and Air and place it in the marked location on deck B2. As you can see from the Objectives and Message panel, the air tank is not enough to supply the current crew count for the required mission duration. Please place another tank at the indicated location. The decks of the ship need to be connected. Select the stairway from the Infrastructure and Connections tab and place it at the highlighted area on deck B1. You can choose if you want to build down from deck B2 or up from deck B1 by clicking on the arrows at the right side of the stairway icon in the Build menu. If a lift or a stairway cannot be built up or down because it would intersect with a room or lead into space, it's shown in red. You'll also need water tanks to supply the crew for the entire mission duration. Select the small water tank from Storage and Water and place one now on the marked location on deck B2. Now place another one at the other side of the stairway to fulfill the objectives. Take a moment to maximize the message panel to see what you still need to do. As you can see, the ship is still in need of life support, water treatment, EEVs and hatches, as well as energy and cooling and supply lines. Orange messages are optional tasks. You can find life support under Health. Construct one at the indicated location on deck B2. Water treatment can be found in the life support category. Construct the water treatment at the indicated location on deck B2. Water treatment needs medical personnel to operate properly. The Objectives panel has been updated to show the new crew requirements. Please select the berthing category and build 1 Medic Quarters Small at the indicated location. All rooms are still without a power supply. Please select a small nuclear generator from the Power tab and build it at the marked location on deck B2. When a generator is selected, you can see how much power a single generator has left at the bottom right. Please select the water treatment. The red lightning icon signifies a room without a power supply. You can see how much power is needed in the room information. Please select the power generator or click on the power icon. Red squares or the lightning icon are power plugs to rooms without power. A green power plug means that the room has power. The number shows the amount of power each room needs. To place power lines, left-click and set start and end points of a power line. Left-click again on an already built node or right-click anywhere to stop connecting. Right-click to erase nodes. Please connect all the rooms to your power grid. Every node costs 10 bitcoins and is a source of malfunctions during missions, so place them wisely. Nodes that are not within rooms or corridors will not be accessible for repairs. There will not be enough power for all the rooms for now. The small generator is not enough to power all the rooms on this deck. Please place another one at the marked location and connect it to the power grid. The lower deck needs power as well. Please place another small generator right next to the engine room and connect all the rooms on this deck to the power grid. Some rooms, like the engine room and the generator rooms, need cooling. This is indicated by a red temperature icon. Please build a small cooling unit from the cooling tab at the highlighted areas on deck B1 to accommodate this. This room type can only be built adjacent to the hull. The cooling generator is marked with red arrows. This means that these rooms still need to be sealed by an outer hatch. Select the cooling hatch from the Infrastructure/Hatches tab and build it next to the cooling generator at the marked location. Please select the engine room. You can see how much cooling is needed at the right side of the room information panel. Please select the cooling unit or click on the temperature icon. Connect the cooling units and the hatches to the power grid, then select the cooling unit or click on the cooling unit to activate the draw tool. You can see how much cooling a single generator has left in the room information panel at the bottom right. Use the left mouse button to connect the cooling unit to the engine room. Red squares signify a room without cooling, blue squares are rooms already supplied. There will not be enough cooling for every room. If the grid turns white, it means that the supply is depleted. The engine room requires all the cooling the small cooling unit provides. To be able to cool the power generator as well, please place another cooling unit at the indicated spot. Place a cooling hatch to seal the newly built cooling unit, then connect the new rooms to the power and cooling grid. Now select one of the tanks on deck B1 or the fuel grid icon and construct the pipe leading from the tanks to the engine room. You'll need to connect both tanks to satisfy the engine room's fuel demand. If the lines turn white, this means that the connected supply is depleted. Please provide air to life support on deck B2 by selecting the air tank or clicking the air grid button and then constructing the tubes to connect to the life support. Please connect the water tank to the water treatment facility by selecting the water tank or clicking the water grid icon and laying the pipes to water treatment. You can view all power lines and tubes of this deck at the same time by pressing and holding tab. Life support, computer, and generators on deck B2 still need cooling. Please place a cooling unit at the marked location, seal with a cooling hatch, and connect to the power and cooling grid. Open the Health and Emergency category. Select and place the sickbay at the recommended location on Deck B1 and connect it to the power grid. Press S or open the File drop-down menu to save the current blueprint. Enter a name you like and hit Save. You can also enter a description to be able to better identify the blueprint later. Select the Small Armory from Berthing and Equipment and place it at the marked location on Deck B2, then connect it to the power grid. Now you need to connect all the rooms on the ship so the crew can move around and access them. First, select a hatch from Infrastructure and Hatches and build 2 hatches on the highlighted locations on Deck B2. Now select a Corridor 1 segment from Infrastructure and Corridors and place it between the hatches. You can connect distances of 2 grid tiles more effectively by using the large hatch. Select it from Infrastructure and Hatches and place it between the stairway and the armory. You might need to rotate the hatch to fit. Large hatches can only be attached to rooms or corridors in one direction. Please place enough hatches to connect every room on the ship. You can keep track of which rooms are still not connected by watching out for the bright red borders. Take a quick look at the messages bar up top. You can now see that the ship needs an exit hatch. The crew has to be able to enter or leave the ship somewhere. It can be placed anywhere along the hull, preferably at the marked location next to the engine room on Deck B1. If you haven't already, please extend the power grid to supply all the new hatches. There won't be enough power on Deck B1. The small power generator does not produce enough power to supply all rooms and hatches on Deck B1. Please place another small nuclear generator at the marked location next to the engine room and connect it with power and cooling. Also, create a hatch to connect the generator with the engine room. In case of an emergency where the crew has to abandon the ship, there needs to be enough emergency escape vehicles for the entire crew. Select Health, then Emergency, and place 2 EEVs at the marked locations on deck B1 and connect them with hatches. The EEVs don't need to be connected to the ship's power grid, but the hatches do. The blueprint is now ready for simulation. All requirements are fulfilled and the ship is fully functional. You can create a ship class by clicking on Prepare for Simulation in the File drop-down menu. After a new window checks the integrity of your design, you can save the blueprint as a ship class by clicking on Save Ship Class.
So, damit ist das Tutorial hier zu Ende, aber man muss natürlich auch noch das, was man noch nicht gemacht hat, auch wenn sie denkt, man hätte es jetzt gemacht damit, noch die restlichen Hatches, also die Luken, mit dem Strom natürlich versorgen, weil ohne Strom kriegst du die Tür nicht auf, ist halt so, ne? Die sind halt alle mit Strom. So, und hier die Linie müsste man eigentlich so wieder machen können. Das ist halt Alpha, das heißt, es ist noch nicht alles so ausgeklügelt. Also wenn man im Nachhinein was baut, ist das noch nicht... Die nehmen dann die grünen Linien beispielsweise nicht wahr, die man dort gemacht hat. Deswegen muss man dann doch nochmal was drüber machen, nochmal so eine Verbindung. So, ich hoffe, dieses Tutorial hat euch etwas geholfen. Und falls ihr denkt, na, man kann doch kein Schiff planen oder sowas, also das hier ist auf jeden Fall ein gutes Tutorial, was die auch mitten also was sie schön am Anfang auch zum Auswählen eingeblendet haben. Ja, weil ohne das Tutorial, ich bin normalerweise so jemand, der sagt so, ja, hier einfach mal zack, zack, ne? Let's test, so, let's try and error, bin ich echt so ein lieber Freund von. Aber ohne dieses Tutorial, das ist echt gut gewesen. Hätte ich wahrscheinlich nie in meinem Leben. Was heißt in meinem Leben? Also zumindest in den nächsten paar Stunden ist nicht so schnell hingekriegt, mal endlich ein Schiff zum Laufen zu bringen. Wir haben keine Error-Message. Guckt euch das an. Keine Error-Message. Und das Problem, was ich immer hatte mit der Reichweite und so, das steht in Korrelation zum Treibstoff. Schon klar, dass man keine Reichweite hat, wenn man keinen Treibstofftank hat, ne? Ja. Naja. Aber ich hoffe, es hat euch was gefallen und auch einen guten Einblick ins eigentliche Gameplay, zumindest vom Plan von Schiffen. Das ist ja ein großer Teil von diesem Game, von dem Gameplay. Danach kommen dann noch Simulationen, wie dann die Crew hier am besten rüberkommt und so, aber das, ja, vielleicht mal in einer der nächsten Folgen. Also, vielen lieben Dank fürs Zuschauen und ich hoffe, es hat euch schon ein bisschen geholfen, das jetzt zu sehen. Konnte man ja hoffentlich auch gut nachvollziehen. Und auch für diejenigen, die nicht Englisch können, man konnte Gott sei Dank immer diese kleinen Icons sehen, dass man so sich erahnen konnte und auch diese Symbole hier oben. Ah, das ist Kühlung, Kühlung ist da. Ah, das war irgendwas mit Unterkünften. Das wurde ja alles angezeigt. Dementsprechend ist das eigentlich auch noch recht gut, auch wenn es nicht auf Deutsch ist natürlich, für diejenigen, die jetzt mit der englischen Sprache nicht so ganz klarkommen. So, also vielen lieben Dank fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüssi!